the game has changed. And by 1975, people were just like the Temptations. Oh, the My Girl guys. Oh, the Cloud Nine guys. Probably was Rolling Stone was I. But what are they going to do in the middle of the 70s? Put out arguably their best work. To another ride on the Groove Line with your boy Chris Stevens. You're right on time for another ride on the Groove Line, I should say. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. If things look a little different here in the on the train, well, my studio setup is looking a little better. I was able to get a lovely computer desk. Never be too good for the goodwill, my good people. And I put my vision board up, so that's what's behind me. As you can see, I'm big on wrong way. I'm so slow. There we go. Oh, yeah, the other way. There we go. Self-love. Self-love has been a huge theme in my life. I'll probably talk about that on my regular podcast. If you guys want to check out my YouTube over there, you can. But today, it is Friday, and we are going to talk about another great album from 1975. I've done a lot of 1975 this year because, well, it's a golden anniversary year. 50 years marks a golden anniversary. And there were some gold records that came out in 1975. And this one came out at the very top of 1975. We are going to talk about probably my second favorite Temptations album. My first is Phoenix Rising. I'll probably have to do an episode about how the Phoenix Rising album meant a lot to a lovesick 17-year-old high school senior, but that's another story for another day. We're talking 1975, of course, and my second favorite Temptations album that came out that year is A Song for You. Now, this one came out January 16th, 1975. This was a new direction for the Temps because Norman Whitfield had left Motown to start his own thing, Whitfield Records, because he had found this hot new group in the South Central Los Angeles called Rolls Royce. So he was off to, get their careers off and running. And Berry Gordy had to figure out who in the hell was going to produce this new Motown album because 1990 sunk like a stone. That was the last Temptations album that came out second half of 1973. And that one had some good songs on it. Like Heavenly is one of my favorite Temptations ballads. I think that's Richard Street and Damon Harris going back and forth on that one. And the DJs wouldn't play it because that payola thing was real, dog. Like if you wasn't making them payola payments, then DJs was like, we can't do nothing for you, man. So 1990 was like an album that came out in 1973 called 1990 was kind of sort of a interesting thing in itself. But a song for you was something that this was a concerted Motown group effort to get the Temps back on the charts. And everybody contributed. Berry Gordy wrote Glass House. Jeffrey Bowen, who had produced the Commodore's Machine Gun album. He was basically the main dude on the boards for this one. And him and Barry kind of sort of snatched one of Lionel Richie's compositions, if you will, for A Song for You. Of course, we're talking about Happy People. And this was one that went to the top of the R&B charts in the first half of 1975. So people like that song. And they like this album as a whole. Like this was, I don't want to say this is the last good Temptations album featuring original members, but it's the last good Temptations album featuring original members. It is. I mean, A Song for You, the way it's constructed, for one, it's kind of sort of like a concept album without being a concept album. For one, you got to look at the album cover art. It's bare bones as all get out. Like normally the Temptations would be on the cover, with their afros nice and tight and these wonderful 70s clothes and nope, no pictures of the Temps to be found. Just some random ass font and a black leather cover with the Temptations, A Song for You on the cover. That's it. That's the cover art. So, I mean, they're just basically saying, all right, we've shown you, you've seen our handsome black faces many times over the years. Just listen to the damn music. And that's exactly what this A Song for You is. Like I said, the construction of that album is just insane because it starts off with a lot of upbeat stuff. First, you start off with Happy People. And that one is talking about come and take my hand. I'll take my brothers and sisters to a better land. And then, of course, there's Glass House. Glass House has one of the funniest lines that I'd missed earlier on listening to it until I listened to it again just recently. And Dennis Edwards is talking about she caught me with Alice and kicked me out. Found out she was mad because she was with Alice first. This is 1975, mind you. And I don't want to say that LGBTQ acceptance wasn't happening, but it wasn't as, you know, it was taboo. It was still very, I mean, it was still taboo in 2025, to be honest with you. But that was taboo for, but honestly, I think they got that from a Richard Pryor joke, because Richard Pryor had I think it was on the Craps After Hours album, where he was talking about this girl named Ethel that he and his lady at the time knew. And Richard was fooling around with Ethel, and Richard's old lady found out and was mad because she was fooling around with Ethel too. So I think they might have gotten that from a Richard Pryor joke. I mean, I can't say that to be certain, but it's reasonable to think that that's a possibility. Then, of course, you have Shaky Ground, which was co-written by the late great Eddie Hazel, who had was in one of his bump George Clinton in his unfair business practices stages of guitar work, and played him and Billy Bass Nelson both, who had left funk. Billy Bass was one of the first people to leave the P-Funk after they had figured out that, okay, the money ain't coming, nobody's getting properly credited. I just sang a great lead on me and my folk, you and your folks, me and my folks, but where's my money? Bump this, I'm out. So Billy Bass Nelson and Eddie Hazel played on Shaky Ground, and this is a song about a dude who was literally down bad, just in every conceivable way. His lady done left him, his car done got repossessed, he's out of work, standing on shaky ground ever since you put me down. Like, it's a two-step, but it's a depressing two-step. Make no mistake about it. And then the mood continues to switch a little bit. I mean, we get into The Prophet, which is basically sort of like, their way of saying, if you want love, if you want happiness, if you want this, you better follow the prophet. That could be Jesus, that could be Muhammad, that could be whoever, whatever guide you subscribe to. And it's another, I think the thing that stands out about this album most about the production from Jeffrey Bowen is that it sounds so much different from what Norman Whitfield was putting across in those latter Temptations years. And it sounds a little bit ahead of what was, already out, because proto disco had already started to become a thing by 1974. When you think about what was happening with Barry White and the Love Unlimited Orchestra, when you think about MFSB and the Sound of Philadelphia, all the stuff that Kenny Gamble, Leon Huff, and Tom Bell were putting together, this was a album right in line with the times, probably a little bit ahead of it, because Shaky Ground sounds like something you can hear in 77. Glass House and The Happy People absolutely sound like 76, 77, 78. But this came out in the top of 1975. Pretty heavy stuff. And, good call by Jeffrey Bowen to sort of get them out of that psychedelic soul thing and say, all right, y'all, this psychedelic soul stuff is dead. Here's what people are moving to. This is what people are grooving to. This is what people are going to be making out to on the second half of his album. I don't know if you can really make out to the second half of his album, because the second half of A Song for You is kind of depressing, to be honest with you. I mean, well, it starts off with A Song for You, one of the most covered songs of all time. Never forget that one of the most popular songs in Black culture was written and originally recorded by a white dude from Oklahoma. Rest in peace to Mr. Leon Russell. So everybody heard that original version of A Song for You and said, oh, I got to do this for myself. First it was Donnie. Then it was Aretha. Now it's the Temps. And Dennis Edwards was in his Birkin on this entire record. Like, I understand why my mother loves Dennis Edwards so much, because that dude was probably one of the greatest voices of all time. I don't know where you put Dennis Edwards on your top male vocalist list, but he's got to be in the top 10. Got to be in the top 10. And he was in his bag all throughout A Song for You. Make no mistake about it, especially on this song. And then, of course, it goes to my favorite song on the album, Memories. Like, Memories, when you first, like, it literally is 6 minutes of hurt. 6 minutes of, I wish I had this woman back. I wish we were still doing the things like, parking the car in the grass and, getting it cracking in and the cop finds us and says, man, just take y'all asses home. You know, these type of things, you know, wish that I could wind like a spiral stair through time with your tender body close to mine, warm and satisfied. Wish that I could catch a night train to the past just to see you ask, dog, come inside. Memories, memories, sweet, sweet memories. Like, I don't know how you listen to memories and don't, you know, feel something. Like, if you don't feel something when you listen to memories, check your pulse. I mean, 50 years later, I mean, I don't know how I wasn't around in 1975. I didn't come along until 1981. I don't know how people were feeling in 1975 when they heard memories, but I can guarantee you there was some sad people drowning their sorrows and whatever the hottest wine or beer or alcohol was back in them days. Because I mean, when you just listen to it, I mean, Dennis Edwards is just so tortured on this song. Like, he's just finally remembering the good times with this woman, but then he knows that, as he says in the second chorus, we will never share them again. Like, there's no going back. Like, we had great times together, but we just can't get it back together. It sucks. That's life. I mean, that's life. That's a lot of relationships. So, I mean, Memories is just one of those songs that just is a gut punch, but it's a beautiful gut punch. When you hear the strings, you hear those flutes, and then when the bridge comes and those synths, it's almost like sort of being in a dreamlike state, kind of sort of hallucinating. Because I mean, synths were very new at that time for black music. I mean, Stevie had already, done his thing with those, but synths really started to become a thing in black music in the middle part of the 70s. And those synths on Memories, that do 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 do, it just feels like, you're just entranced, like going back to the memories that you had with this person and they're gone and that you can't get them back. And you're just like zoned out. Like, it is unbelievable. Like, again, the production on this album is just elite. And then, of course, there's I'm a Bachelor. And now you figure in 1975, a song called I'm a Bachelor, this is going to be a man bragging about all the women that he done knocked down. No, this is a dude who wants to be married. That's what Dennis Edwards says. All you married men, I want to be married just like you. So, I mean, granted, 1975, we're talking about the sexual revolution, second wave feminism, free love, swinger parties, key parties as they were called back then. Because back in the day, people used to get together for these parties and drop their keys in a bowl, car keys in a bowl, car keys and house keys in a bowl. And people would just randomly pick keys out the bowl. And whoever keys you got is who you went home with that night. That, to me, is the craziest thing. I mean, well, I ain't gonna say too much, but yeah, people in the 70s were having a good time. Make no mistake about it. So, I mean, when you hear a song like I'm a Bachelor, you're thinking this is going to be debauchery to the 10th degree. No, it's like, nah, man, I'm a bachelor, but not by choice. That's exactly what the hook says. I'm a bachelor, but not by choice. It's like, damn, I'm tired of being single. I want somebody in my life. Just, and then of course it closes out with Firefly brings back so many memories for me as a child, because as I say on this show all the time, my mother made us listen to WDAS. Because I'm from the Philadelphia area, Wilmington, Delaware. We couldn't listen to Power 99. We couldn't listen to hip hop and modern R&B. We had to listen to WDAS because it was my mama's house. It was her rules. So I always remember Firefly is one of those songs that I remember as a child that just stuck with me. Just Firefly, Firefly. And this is the one time that Richard Street actually got to lead, and he led pretty damn well. And Blue Franklin, when the sea runs dry and the stars fall from the sky. And here comes Richard back. She's a vulnerable flower, and even when I have to lie, I shouldn't have to lie to make the world seem all right. Like, no, I can't sing. As you guys probably figured out by the 60 plus videos you have heard me on this channel, I will never use this microphone to sing professionally. But I just have to, convey the message of the songs. But yes, a song for you, like I said, is probably my second favorite Temptations album. I don't know if I would qualify it I mean, I'd have to go through their entire catalog once again to start ranking them in order. But I don't think it's a far shot to call this a top 5 Temptations album. Because when you think about the times, this is 1975, and Motown was dealing with some challengers. Because you got to remember, late 60s, early 70s, Stax gets going. By the middle of the 70s, Philadelphia International is the flavor du jour for black music. And then, of course, right around 74, 75, disco starts to take off. So Motown, they were the only game in town for a good 10 years. Then by the time the 70s turn around, it's a new thing. There's new labels. There's new sounds. There's new artists. There's new producers. There's new instrumentalists. I mean, Motown was under attack pretty much in the mid 70s. And they did pretty well for the 70s. I think we put too much stock. I mean, I think we downplayed that period of success in the 70s for Motown because it wasn't what the 60s were. I mean, Motown was it in the 60s. Make no mistake about it. But by 1975, things had changed a lot. And for the Temptations, I mean, you got this classy group of guys who, you know, they have their steps down. They all wear the same thing and all of that. Then you had the OJs with Eddie Levert, Walter Williams, and William Powell, and then later on Sammy Strain, who are wearing, you know, their own thing, their own different steps. These 4 on the floor beats from the MFSB, you know. And then you got these bands like the Commodores, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Confunction. Well, Confunction wasn't out then. They were just about to get started in about 76, the next year. But the Bar-Kays, the Ohio Players, Parliament Funkadelic, the game has changed. And by 1975, people were just like, the Temptations, oh, the My Girl guys, oh, the Cloud 9 guys. Power was Rolling Stone was right. But what are they going to do in the middle of the 70s? Put out arguably their best work, because The Song for You is a damn good album. I mean, like I said, I think it's their last good album in that original Temptations era. That's my personal opinion. Like, maybe anybody else can enlighten me on what album they think is better. But I think A Song for You, considering what it meant for the times, considering what they were dealing with in those stages of advancement in their careers, it's their best work. I mean, it's my like I said, it's my second favorite Temptations album ever, because the only original member left on Phoenix Rising was Otis, because everybody else was pretty much gone by then. Dave Ruffles had passed away, Eddie Kendricks had passed away, Blue Franklin had passed away. Dennis Edwards was doing the Temptations review at the time, but Otis Williams was the last remaining member. But with Otis and Dennis and Blue on this record, and then of course Richard Street and Damon Harris pitching in, like, it's a fantastic record. I highly recommend A Song for You. If you haven't heard it yet, go ahead and do that. But if you have memories of A Song for You, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from y'all on this channel. And that's going to do it for this ride on the Groove Line. Watch your step when you get off. Greatly appreciate y'all. As always, contact information will be in the description below. Same for the website, the Facebook page, all of our other social media apps. Follow us, give us a follow on those places. And thank you guys for riding with me on the Groove Line. Have a great weekend. And until the next time we ride, may you find the groove, or may the groove find you.